It numbs you, a nightmare, a horrible disease. These are just a few of the ways people have described mental illness in their lives. Whether it's you, your child, or a friend, mental illness impacts all of us in the same ways, and that's why the Mind Space podcast is committed to uncovering mental illness and the impact it has.
First time, or you're continuing, hoping this conversation will even touch you more than the last one we had. Hosting today, Debbie, and the other hosts, Martin and Mark, who are out there in the studio watching in the background. So today we're joined by an interesting person, Peter, who's here with us to share his months of strength he has been dealing with. He has agreed to come here and share his story on substance abuse recovery.
Yes,
Yeah. So, Peter, how are you?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great.
Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How are you feeling to be here?
I feel fresh, ready for
fresh.
this.
Are you nervous?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you being here is going to, what impact actually do you think this is going to have, you being here today? And
It's for people to understand me more.
People to understand
and to get to know
more.
somewhat the whole story of my past experiences.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself. Who
Peter,
is Peter?
but my name is actually Pierre Ntango. Yeah, I'm Ugandan. My mom is Ugandan, my dad is Burundian. I was born and raised here. Yeah, and I've been through some trials and tribulations due to substance abuse. So that's the main purpose why I'm here, to share that story.
How old are you, Peter?
I'm 26.
You're 26 years
Yes.
old. Okay. So, Peter, this is your story.
Yes, it is.
We are here to listen, and you
Okay.
can start from anywhere you want to.
Okay, where should I begin? Let me begin with a brief summary of how I started using. I would say I was in senior one, sort of, that's like 13 years maybe.
13
This is
years ago.
2008. Yeah. I was more of an athlete. I liked sports. I liked music, women, friendship, interacting. Then substance abuse came crawling in slowly, but I didn't pay too much attention to it because I thought it was, not a big issue. So I tried. Smoked weed once, smoked cigarettes. That time there were tote packs. This time I was in Green Hill Academy, my senior one. So yeah, they were sneaking tote packs, weed, cigarettes, and we would smoke it at the boys' dormitory in the bathroom. Yeah, I tried it. Wasn't my cup of tea. Then I don't know what lured me in. I think it was during the holidays, December holidays.
Let's first put a pause there. You starting being in
Yeah.
S1, 13 years old, you say?
Yes.
Was this experimental peer pressure?
Actually, because I'm born in December, so I was 12, turning 13.
You were 13.
Yeah.
What made you begin this? Was it some pain control?
Curiosity.
What exactly?
Peer pressure.
Curiosity.
Yeah. And trying to fit in.
Trying to fit in. So there were already people who were doing this, and
Yes.
they lured you into it.
Most of them were sports people. They're in basketball team, rugby team, sort of the cool kids. So I looked up to them. I'm like, yeah, if these guys can do this in the background, still be presentable, and everyone looks up to them, maybe it's like a ritual they do to get that self-esteem.
So it was more of you being accepted into the sports community or the cool kids community.
Being accepted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first substance you used?
Yes, it was, I would say marijuana, weed, yeah. I don't want to say alcohol. But both of them actually.
Both of them at the same time?
Yeah,
On the same day?
not the same day.
Not the same day.
I don't really remember which one I started with, but I know it was weed that really lured me into that.
Do you remember how you first felt?
Yeah. I didn't get high. I won't lie. I didn't
get
inhale
high?
it properly.
You didn't inhale it properly?
Yeah, so I said this is a waste of time. So I took a break from that. But alcohol, you drink it, it will affect you. But weed, you have to learn how to inhale it. So I didn't
at this point, you knew what you were doing.
I
You
knew.
the repercussions of drinking alcohol.
Not
But you did
really,
it anyway.
to some extent.
Not really.
Yeah,
Okay.
to some extent. But weed, actually, I learned it from a neighbor.
From a
The
neighbor.
proper way, how to inhale, how to get high.
And when was this? Still in your S1?
Yeah, I told you I was coming to that. December holidays.
December
Yeah.
holidays. S1 holidays.
Yeah,
Okay.
2008. So December, I found out my neighbor also smokes. He was a bit older than me. He was in senior 6 that time. I won't disclose their names or whatnot, but yeah, he taught me how to inhale, and from there I got hooked because I love the feeling.
So before this, this was something you're doing for fun, right?
Fun, yeah.
Was it always being done at school, or you would actually take the habit back home?
Because I was in boarding school, so I didn't really have any other activities out of school. If I'm not at school, I'm at home. If not at home, I'm going to church, that stuff. Oh, I think that time it was UGL, yeah. So yeah, so it was during the holiday, December holiday, that's when I learned how to smoke weed the proper way, and I can't say got hooked, but I liked the feeling.
So this person taught you this?
Yeah.
Were they doing any other, you said they were 18 years old?
Yes.
For an 18-year-old initiating a 13-year-old person into this,
yeah.
According to them, was it not wrong? Did they feel any certain way, any
I don't,
remorse?
If you think about it now, yeah, it sounds wrong, but to him, maybe he thought initiating me is also a cool thing to him. You understand? Because I asked.
You asked for it?
You know, there are some people who initiate you in cruel ways, but this person, I really emphasize, man, I want to learn how to. I've been smoking, even cigarettes, I used to smoke, but I used to not inhale, so I used to get no effect. So I'm like, then people are like, man, you don't know what you're missing. I said, I have to learn. So I really, really pushed him. And he's like, man, I know your parents. I know. I'm like, I don't want them to find out. What? Because my dad was harsh. They knew it. If your dad finds out. You understand? So I really stressed that until he taught me.
So why did you feel the need to learn? You're already with your friends. You can pass off by acting like you're smoking. Why did you actually feel the need to want to actually learn?
I don't want to go deep, but let me just give an explanation. Maybe it will make sense. Now, 2008. I told you I was a fan of music.
Okay.
2008. Now this is not the music side of things. There was an album that was released called The Carter 3. I don't know if you're a Lil Wayne fan.
Yes,
There's that song, A Milli. It brainwashed me that year. Then, after hearing that song, I'm like, man, I researched about Lil Wayne. I saw his whole persona, blunt rolling. I'm like, man, this guy is too cool. And that was his thing. Till now, you still see him with his blunt, because he doesn't use rolling paper. Blunt wraps. Till now. So I'm like, man, maybe this is what gives him confidence. So maybe that's why he gets that creative mind to write all those lyrics. So I'm like, man, yeah, this is it for me.
Okay, so
that's the style I want to have.
That's the style you want to have. So what happens after these December holidays?
After?
The December holiday with your
neighbor.
neighbor.
Yeah, so now I learn. I'm like, my God. Now when I listen to music, this is a different feeling I get. I won't say euphoric feeling, but man, everything was super sensitive. Even food, things were brighter. I'm like, yeah. So I really enjoyed the first stages of my addiction. Yeah.
In the first stages, how long did these first stages last for?
Let's say that I really enjoyed. I still cherish till now those memories. Like 4 years.
4 years.
4 years deep, yeah.
Would you have considered yourself addicted within these 4 years?
No. I thought I had it under control. Yeah.
You thought you had it under control?
Yeah.
But you didn't know if you were addicted or not?
I didn't even understand what an addict means. I just thought I'm doing like recreationally. I didn't know. For the moment, because everyone has their vice. I said, this is my vice. I hope no one will ever find out. Apart from my friends I do it with, yeah. So every time I would smoke, I would take measurements of precaution. I would buy Visine eye drops. I was using sanitizers back then before it was the norm. All that. I would shower. I used to have colognes and all that,
And the people you were staying with never caught on at any one time?
For like 2 years, let's say. Okay, maybe they knew and they didn't want to believe it. Maybe they're also in denial, but I'm sure they understood, because both of them were smokers, so maybe, because I'm sure you can try and hide even if you shower, but that smell, even if it's not weed or cigarettes, whatever, because even that time I was smoking shisha, so maybe they knew, but they didn't tell me.
Were these your parents?
Yeah, my parents.
Do you have any other siblings?
I do. I have a brother and sister.
Were they also staying with you at this time?
Yeah, they're all staying together.
Okay, so 4 years down the road, you're still doing the same thing.
Still doing, yeah,
And it's only weed, cigarettes, and alcohol.
alcohol. I tried Kuba. I tried chewing Mira. I didn't like it. Yeah, so it was primarily weed, cigarettes, alcohol, and shisha sometimes.
And shisha sometimes.
Yeah.
So at this point, are you still doing it to fit in? Have you made new friends?
Till now, no, I don't. My mindset changed. I don't. Okay, let me just elaborate it more.
Yes,
Like,
please.
okay, I was staying around Kololo Airstrip. That time, Centenary Park had opened. Oh, it was the
I remember the good old days.
yeah, Fendi's, all that, Kyoto. There was Oasis Mall. There was rooftop alligators, all that. So I stayed around there. So actually, for me, even partying, it was so easy. I would just walk down there every weekend because I was first in Green Hill, then I changed to day school. I went to Aga Khan. That's when I really lost it. I got so rebellious, so
and you
spoiled.
had all this liberty to move out of home at that time.
No, of
17,
course I was.
like
Nah, this is now 14.
14.
Still that, yeah.
Before the 4 years gone.
If I'm starting in 2008, I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, 9, I was 14. You understand? So, yeah, but 14 is when I really got very spoiled.
Okay.
Yeah,
According to you.
according to me,
Right now
where
or
it all
then?
began.
Where
I
it all
won't count
began.
2008 because I was just learning.
You were
But
just
then,
learning.
really, it became my lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
2009
For how long did you carry on this lifestyle for?
till last year.
Till last year.
Last year, January.
Taking you back, when did it all fall apart? When did you begin losing control?
I would say when it started playing in my academics and I started deteriorating.
Which
Yeah.
class were you in by then?
Let's say 2010. I was in, because I changed to Cambridge, I was from UNEF, so I went to do Cambridge syllabus. So I would say year 10, that's S3.
S3.
Yeah.
S3. You actually lost control in S3. This is when things
S3.
began to go bad. When
Yeah.
you were changed to a Cambridge school or during the transition anyway or before?
When I changed, I became a day scholar. Like I had enough freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when, because now the weekends, I'm at home. So being at home, I'm out. Before I used to jump. I used to try, when you still have that fear for your parents.
Yeah.
When you start losing, like when you start losing fear and respect for them, you go beyond measures. Now, I used to hide. Maybe I escape when they're sleeping. Midnight, come back at 5 a.m. Maybe they won't notice. I connive with the maid, whoever the security guard. Then I style disrespected them. I would go Friday night, come back Sunday evening. Like, where have you been? Friend's house. Of course, I'll come back when I'm sober. That stuff. So yeah. So they're wondering, which friend, what? So all those excuses.
So that's as far as it got with them. It never got to a real confrontation of actually them wanting to find out the real reason. Or
It did. 2011. That's the
2011.
first time I checked into rehab. I was 16.
You
Yeah.
were 16.
Yeah.
Which year was this?
2011.
Of the Cambridge program.
I started Cambridge 09. Yeah. 09 and I throughout high school.
So this is year 12?
So it's only S1 where I was doing UNED.
Okay, so you
So
first
no,
went
this
to
was year 11.
year 11. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the first time you went to rehab.
Yes, because as too rebellious, I started supplying drugs,
started supplying.
weed to people in boarding. Now this time I was in Cambodia. I got expelled from Aga Khan, so each year I was shifting schools, So Cambodia, yeah, I was a dealer. So the principal called my dad. He's like, your son is a bright student. He's they always say that, but rebellious, stubborn, we can't have him here. He's going to disrupt a lot and destroy a lot of kids.
How did the principal find out? Were you really
found out.
running a
Yeah, sort of, because it was an international school. There's so many foreigners, you understand, who just go to study and go back home in the holidays, back to their homes, either Rwanda, Kenya, wherever. So they didn't know the whereabouts, where, you understand. So I was like their plug. I'd bring for them weed, cigarettes, all that. There's this alcohol. I don't know if you remember it, called bagpipers. It was like in this sort of the way it was packaged. You could think it's like a juice box.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. So that's what I used to use. So it helped. That actually helped me.
it helped you.
Because even the security guard checking was ignorant.
Oh,
so
it helped you get
get
into school.
into it. Yeah. So
Okay. So having started these drugs in your S1,
yeah, then I was already hooked. It was a daily thing. That was my
Yeah.
daily ritual after school, before school, smoke. Yeah,
so everything fell apart so quick from
so
S1,
quick, so
yeah,
so
11.
so quick. Yeah,
And these are the only substances you are using?
nah, that's why if I'm going to speak my truth, it's a long story, but I'm going to summarize it. So yeah, 2011, the principal tells my parents, you know what? Since we're about to break for summer break, I don't know, for like 3 months, 2 months holiday, then you go back in September. You know what? Actually, he tricked my parents. He's like, you know what? The only way we'll let your son back in is if he checks himself into a rehab called Serenity Center, that side of Entebbe Road. They accepted. I didn't know this. I found out after.
Okay,
So,
I
yeah.
mean, by the time a principal of a school
Yeah.
is concerned about one student
Yeah.
among us all the others,
Yeah.
don't you think your parents had caught on by then? Had they also tried to
Well,
talk to you before?
they
or-
knew, like, they had their suspicions because I used to leave home frequently during the night. Yeah, but I said I was rebellious. They could not control me.
So they
All
never
they
tried
could do
to
is pray for
confront you
me.
at any time?
They did in an aggressive way, in a calm way, but it only just made it worse, you know? Because I also had anger issues. I didn't realize that till sometime later on. So, yeah, they tried all those scare tactics, police, blah, 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 drug
Police?
test. Yeah.
Police care tactic?
Like, yeah, me taking me to a police station and
Oh,
exposing
try
me.
to-
My son does this, that. Then the policeman tried to scare me. Next time we see you, we'll cane you, blah, blah. All that stuff. I think
Okay.
they even caned me one time. This was CPS. I remember my dad taking me there.
Okay, so they had
But it
actually
didn't work.
tried.
Because
Yeah.
I was too rebellious.
Okay, so what I'm trying to understand is it's getting out of hand from the family onto
Yeah, they
the
cannot
society
control
now.
me.
So society right
So
now is
I was
also
spreading
worried
that
about you.
thing. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like, I don't even know. Maybe because I was not the only person. You can't say I was the only heathen in that school. No, there were several. But maybe he wanted to help me because he saw something in me. Maybe he saw a lost kid. I don't know. But yeah, I was the first person to ever take that route. So yeah. So he suspended me indefinitely. He said let him do his whatever months he's there. Once he comes back reformed, he can come back to school.
At this point, had your friends also tried to talk to you before?
No.
Not
that
at
time,
all.
That time they were like praising me, like, you always want that status. Like, man, those are the heydays. Now I didn't know any better.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah.
this is a child who has
Yeah,
no form
lost
of
child,
guidance.
confused. Doesn't
Family is
know what he
trying,
wants.
friends
Family
are
is
not
trying.
backing up, and
Yeah.
society is worried.
Yeah,
And you go to rehab for the first time.
first time.
Which year is this?
I was tricked. I told you 2012.
2012.
I was 16 years.
Okay, how did it happen? How did it go down?
I think they told me I'm going for counseling. See a therapist. I agreed. Went to the rehab setting. I didn't understand actually because I didn't even try to do any research. I said, okay, I won't speak to. Okay. Go there. They didn't pack anything. I think they had told them what to do. So I go there like, okay, I'm going for this meeting, whatever. Speak to so and so. So yeah, I enter the facility. I see it's like a home setting. I'm like, okay, so let's be an office. I didn't know actually. I was very vague. I didn't understand what was going on. So they take me to office, speak to so and so. They told me to wait. Okay. As my dad, I think it was my dad, took me there. He's talking to so and so. I don't know. They left me in the office. I was speaking to a counselor, asking me questions. So when did you start smoking, drinking, blah blah?
Let's go back a bit because they tricked you into
Yeah.
going. Why did you accept? Because they told you you're
Because
going to
I
see a
want to live
counselor.
years of my parents. At least
Was it out of obedience, or you actually at this point
I was
thought you
also
also
curious.
needed some help?
Yeah, I know I didn't think I needed help.
What
That
were you
time, no.
curious
I
about?
thought I had it under control. I'm like, it's just me. Yeah, this is me.
So are
And
you,
it's the lifestyle I chose. So I said, let me listen to them for once. Maybe they will stop bothering me after I go for this intervention. Yeah,
okay.
but the trip was on me because I did 3 months. My whole summer. Yeah.
How did it feel? You know, being lied to, being put there. Was
I
it like a
angry
punishment?
the first month with them because I was alone. I was with grown up, mature people, actually. Because Serenity has changed. It was a bungalow with grown ups, you know. They injected me with something weird. That's what they call CPZ, if you understand. I slept like for 3 days. I was weak. I'm like, what's going on? You understand? I was annoyed till, you know me, I'm someone who adjusts, so I adjusted to the situation. Then they brought some other person, my age mate, who was studying in SMAC, I think. He also had the same problems as me, weed. So yeah, at least I had a friend there. So I got used to it. Before I did want to attend the meetings, all that, I was like, man, I'll just wait for food. After all that, TV, music, MTV based, that was the highlight, all movies. And yeah, I started working out. So I had a routine that helped me go through those.
But all through this, you just want to get out?
No, actually,
Or
I've like let's say the third or second half month. Yeah, I started listening to the counseling, the sessions. I'm like, man, you know what? Because I also saw examples. There are some people who are being brought in from South Africa, from weird countries, even here, and they come in the worst conditions, psychosis. Now me, I didn't know that. I thought these are mad people. Like, this is what weed does, blah blah. My first heroin addict I met, he was a South African. I don't know why they brought him.
so what exactly happens in rehab? They let you meet other people. They let you
No,
interact.
the patients
Yeah, the patients
have
they
different.
let
They
you
come
interact.
there with different issues. Some minor, some big, some completely crazy. Depends. So I saw all that. So it opened up my eyes. I'm like, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to quit weed. Want to quit weed? Yeah. Weed,
So
I'll just be
there's-
drinking now. That was my resolution. Just beer. Because
Also-
I didn't know how to interact sober. I didn't think that's it. Like, man, that's not it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while you're in rehab, they give you medication.
Yeah.
They give you room to exercise.
Yeah, that
They
rehab was
cancel
at that
you.
time. Yeah, all that.
What's the routine like in a typical day in rehab?
Wake up. You know, they try to bring you back to society. Wake up at 7, breakfast 7 something. Sessions start at 9 to midday lunch, something like that, or 1, depends. Lunch, then maybe have one-on-one with your personal counselor
This is every day?
every day. Yeah, because that setting there were a few patients, not like Butabika where you're dealing with thousands. Here you can actually concentrate on one patient's problem and try and find a solution.
So what happens if you don't comply?
That is now that's where it's upon you. If you don't want to listen, you can be there. Yeah. Gain
What
weight
happens
and live with the
if you
same
don't want to
mentality.
wake up and go and
That's how I was my first few weeks there. Yeah.
what made you change?
I said, man, I got bored of that. Also being rebellious in that setting. I said, let me first follow protocol. Yeah, and it helped me. Because I learned some things. Not a lot, but yeah.
Can you share some of these things you learned?
I learned drugs are bad. I learned
You're
about...
saying that like you're...
Like, I'm now saying, like, back in the day when I was a 16-year-old, I'm like, man, I'm seeing examples, so and so. Drugs are bad. Learned about this pharmaceutical industry, these pills they give, substitute the drugs. I learned about AA, the 12 steps, counseling, therapy, meditation, all that. And also...
Looking back, subconsciously, do you think you as a young person being placed in rehab and seeing older people, did it somehow affect you?
Yeah, like first complete your... What do you say?
Did it somehow affect you into realizing, no, I don't want to be that kind of person when I'm grown?
Yes. I saw people's kids checking their parents in. This is a full-grown person with money, can say established, but he has maybe a drinking problem, and his own daughter or son is checking him in because of his issues. I said, man, I don't want to be like. But also, I thought I had enough time. I'm just 16. You know how you can feel. The youngest, like, man, his problem is at 50, maybe. So I saw examples, but I was not. I was living in denial. Actually, I said that can never be me. By the time I'm 50, no, they can't be doing this to me.
This was the first time in rehab.
My first time.
How many times have you been to rehab?
Like, how many times or how many rehabs?
That you can remember.
I've been to like 4 rehabs or 5.
4 rehab facilities?
Yes.
But how many admissions have you had?
I would say 6 times.
6 times?
Yeah.
You know, there's a belief that while people are still recovering, they can still access these drugs in rehab anyway.
Yes,
is that true?
Yeah, that's very true.
That's very
true.
Because
me, I made it because I was not really hooked. I won't lie. I smoked weed there. My first time, 72, yeah. Some guy came. Even cigarettes, but then I didn't like the whole thing of, you know, when you smoke like you're a thief. It's not fun, so I just left it. So you're
really basically now trying to fight against this side, and it's just you.
Yeah, even not only that, not only illicit drugs, even pharmaceutical drugs, they abuse their own medicine. Like me, I didn't like the effects of those drugs, so I would give them to my roommates, and I realized he was hooked because he was an alcoholic, and he was depressed. He was in that depression stage. I remember he was 24, so I liked being fresh, you know. So those pills, like, they make you, like, they sedate you. I don't like that feeling, so I won't even swallow them. I'd only swallow those appetizers, just, you know. So yeah, I'd give them, and I'll see the guys are hooked like mine. It becomes the drug in rehab. Yeah.
These are the pills being sold illegally or exchanged around illegally, or the ones that were actually given?
The ones they are giving out. So let's say me, antipsychotic, because I smoke weed. Yeah. So the drugs are a bit strong. It's like a height sort of. I didn't like that feeling. Some people like it. I didn't like it, so I would give out my drugs to people, and they will abuse it because now that's overdosing.
So you were not adhering to the medication?
No, it depends. Sometimes when I feel like, I'd also, you know, it depends on the mood, you know. There's a pill I had for the weekend that they used to give me that I would keep. I won't swallow for like a week. Then that specific day I would swallow, like, and that's overdosing.
On which rehab admission was this? Because it seems like now you have
Serenity,
a routine.
So I learned
is this
a lot.
the first time?
Yeah.
This is the first time?
Yeah.
Okay. Did your parents ever come to visit?
Yeah, they did.
They
did. They tried their best. Yeah, they did so many times actually. Yeah, but anyway, but the first time is after a month. That's what I remember. Yeah. They come with food, blah blah. They leave money. They ask. They're saying I've gained weight. Maybe I'm looking good, looking clean. Yeah, they're happy with the progress. Not knowing it's not physical. It's mental. Because I know a lot of people who are in rehab physically, but mentally and spiritually they're not there. They're just waiting to go back to their old habits. And that was not me at that time. My first time. I wanted to change. I said, let me quit. You
wanted to change?
I said, let me quit smoking. Let me just drink beer only. But then I failed to do that.
Okay, so what happens when you get out after this first time?
Yeah, I was clean like for 2 months. Till some friend of mine came back from I don't know where, I think Malaysia. He had some nice, you know, they call it high grade that time. So it was a hot box. I remember, my first relapse were in Cayenne. Actually, we are from Cayenne, Naguru Hill.
You are still
16
we
go for a joyride. I didn't disclose my problems because when I left, you know, most times it's good to be honest. Vigorous honesty. I was honest. They asked, man, you've gained weight, blah, blah, you look good. Where are you from? Like, man, I was visiting my cousin, you know. I think I said Holland because I have relatives there. Like, oh, okay, that explains your weight gain. They didn't ask questions. Then what was fishy is that I don't smoke anymore. Yet I'm from like the weed capital. It didn't make sense. I came up with an excuse. No, you know, one of them, my cousin, is like a bodybuilder. He told me, man. I said, I smoked enough. I'm done.
Were you ashamed to admit this?
Of course, being in rehab. No, did they even understand? I mean, if I explained it to them.
You thought they wouldn't understand.
Yeah. So I said, maybe. Actually, someone told me that it's so good experience of just, you know, as long as you work the program yourself. So I failed because I wasn't honest with myself. So some guy just lured me in.
You're still 16, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was still 16, so he came back from somewhere, I don't know. I think Malaysia. Some good Thai weed, whatever. So yeah, he didn't know my situation. He thought, yes, I'm the same guy. He left. So yeah, I was in the ride. He was hotboxing, you know, a J ride. Then he passes it to me. I was not strong enough to say no. I smoked. I never felt that high before. Yeah.
Had you gotten back in school at this time because you took some time off? How was the education going on for you?
It was on and off for me.
It was on and off for you. Did you actually have to pause and first deal with recovery?
3 months. But couldn't have those 3 months were in the summer break. And they had expelled me a month before. So I left like around August something. The beginning of, and school was starting in September. So I still had some few weeks. But I told you I was a day scholar. So my weekends I was free to do as I please. So yeah, I took 2 months, so I relapsed in October. I don't remember the date, but yeah.
When you got out, did you actually have support from the family?
And I also didn't understand. Same way I did understand. They thought, man, you just enter this facility, teach you a few things, you come out a fresh, new person. You know, that's what they're hoping for. I didn't work out like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were the circumstances around the second time you went to rehab? And how old were you?
Second time it was 2015.
That's after 2 years.
After
20?
some 15.
2015.
First time was 11. This is 15. I was 20. I think 20, 21. Yeah. So we had now shifted. Pololo was staying in Imbuya. So yeah, this other time round was a bit funny because the second time I was in Butabika. ADU, alcohol drug unit, but anyway, Butabika, we just say that. So yeah, I did 3 months there.
3 months as well.
Yeah.
How was the experience in Butabika? I mean, you having been to Serenity before.
It's totally different. Okay, where I was, the only difference was uniform. It's like a high school setting, sort of like a dormitory setting. Food, different. Unless you have money, you can order from the restaurant. Otherwise, you're eating government food, which I didn't do. The portion beans and porridge in the morning. So yeah.
Is it your parents who opted for this, or?
It was my aunt who referred, because she stays in Luzira, so close to Butabika. So she's like, there's this rehab, it's not that expensive, a facility. So yeah, that referral. So yeah, I went there. I'm seeing all sorts of stuff. Good enough. I'm always in ghettos and all that. So me, I'm not someone who gets shook easily. But certain things were frightening me. Seeing people drooling under medication, like, man, these are completely crazy people. But where I was, they were okay, a bit sane. Okay, mostly, you understand? Because it's a private thing and ADU. Those are the ones that are safe. And the outside there's Chireka, there's what? All sorts of stuff. So really I was like, man, this is really. And the first time the second time was now, I think it was alcohol, weed, mirror, and some other things.
So eventually you liked the mirror?
Yeah, eventually.
Okay. This was the second admission into Butabika?
No, into rehab.
But the Butabika rehab?
Yeah.
So this is the third admission into the Butabika rehab?
No, second. My second rehab was in Butabika ADU. Yeah. Or you can just say, but not to confuse things, Butabika.
Butabika.
Yeah.
I mean, given the substance use, the relapses, had you sort of developed any other issues mentally? Any other mental
not
disorders
Not
that you
not
were
at
aware
that
of
time.
then?
Not, I wasn't really aware, but not really. Second time, I think it was, what can I say? I had anger issues actually. What drove me there was also a bit of, on my parents' side, I don't know if they're trying to punish me, but me, that's how I took it. Because they could have taken me anywhere else, but maybe they took me to that. So what I learned the hard way, that man, it's you can reach there.
But
Actually, my aunt, because my aunt thought my parents used to enable me. Like, I was very manipulative. So maybe she's like, this kid has to learn the hard way. Let him see. Because those other rehabs, it's like a vacation, you know?
This is 2015.
Yeah, this is 2015.
Did you actually think you had a problem then? Did you acknowledge you had a
I
problem
knew
now?
I knew I was an addict.
But you didn't mind going back to rehab because you're going to Serenity. It's more of a
No, I
vacation.
didn't know actually.
Or-
How I was taken, the second time was through some tight measures, through police. Yeah.
What made you keep going back to these drugs? I mean, substances after going through all this.
I don't know.
What is it that?
It became a lifestyle for me. It became a lifestyle. I liked that persona. I just liked everything about it. Being rebellious, a bad boy, whatever. You know, someone not to. You understand? Fear. You understand? People feared or respected me or pitied me. I don't know how I took it.
So you going through rehab was more of just adding something that you can finish and move
Going
on
to
anyway.
rehab was now like my parents' thing. You understand? To protect me when I'm deteriorating, like try to bring me back in line, but it didn't work.
Didn't work
Yeah,
for you.
because I didn't open myself to it. It was sort of a punishment. Actually, hearing someone going to rehab 16 years old, that's almost close to impossible. In Uganda, I think I might be one of the first people. You understand? So, I learned, but then I thought about, I'm like, man, then it also became a hate thing on my side. Like, why would you do that to me?
Are you the firstborn at home?
I know I'm the middle child.
You're the middle child. Did it affect your family financially, shifting you from place to place? Did you ever consider that side
Yeah,
of
it did, to some extent. Yeah. It did, but yeah, it actually did.
Did you consider it by then while you were...
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't, because I told you I was in and out of schools, expelled from like a lot of schools. So I didn't really think of it from their point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just you trying to get high no matter what cost.
You know, that was it. Party life, man. I was clouded in this whole lifestyle. That wasn't healthy at all.
Along the way, did you ever stop to think you had taken it a bit too far at any
Yeah,
one point?
when I decided becoming violent, some people.
To some people.
Yeah, like my dad. That's why I had to bring police in, reinforcement, because, yeah.
Okay. Did you ever have any near-death experiences or any times you overdosed at
No,
all?
I've never.
You haven't?
No. But I've had very many breakdowns.
Very many breakdowns.
Depression, all that. Psychosis, yeah.
When did you realize you had these issues?
This is now recent, because now I had graduated. The second time when I was in Butabika, I met some OBs of mine, and they were there for a different reason. They were there for class A drugs, heroin, crack. I was ignorant about that. So yeah, they were enticing me. They used to talk about it, blah, blah, like, man, you still smoke weed, blah, man, there's this. So yeah, that time when you talk about heroin, I'm thinking you inject, you know that, like what they see in movies, injections, blah, blah, black tar, spoon, all that. I'm like, no, that's not me. So yeah, and unfortunately, those were my same neighbors, because most of them were from Bugolobi flats. So when I left ADU, Butabika, I met them, and I relapsed already. I was smoking weed, mirror, alcohol. I thought I was in the safe zone. That's why they say weed is a gateway drug. So now, I was tricked into it actually. They laced weed They laced that thing, brown sugar, it's heroin. Weed, they gave it to me like, try this. I thought it's like a different strain.
And you got
3
hooked.
puffs, sweating, I puked. I'm like, what's this? They laughed. Like, man, blah, blah, blah. I need to understand. Me, I didn't even think you can mix heroin and weed.
So this is when you got hooked onto heroin.
It's when I now, yeah.
Which year is this?
This is same year, 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, didn't you ever feel like, did you feel like you were doing all this because maybe partly there was no social support on your side? I mean, sometimes when you're going through some stuff, you can stop and talk to someone. I mean, here you have a family that's not really understanding, you're not really opening up to friends. Did you ever feel like you're cornered and drugs are the only
I felt
solution?
misunderstood. You know when you feel like the black sheep in a family? You're always in the corner, you feel like no one understands me. No one wants to listen to me. I don't have a say in the family, whatever. That's how I felt. So yeah. So that was a self-defense mechanism, me being rebellious. Maybe I was seeking attention in that negative way or self-destructive way, I don't know. But that's how I was.
I want to talk about the last time you were in rehab. Which year was that?
This is last year.
This is last year. That's
Yeah.
2020?
Yeah.
25
Just
by
before
then.
COVID.
Just before COVID.
Yeah.
So you had been doing great, then COVID happened, or?
No, I told you. I was in rehab. 5 rehabs.
Yes.
5? Okay. Serenity, Utavika, Hope and Beyond, Teens Challenge, now Safe Places. Yeah. Safe Places. I was there twice. 2019, relapsed immediately. Last year is when I don't know. It's like I had a better understanding of things. So
would you attribute it to the place?
the place, yeah.
How was it different from the others?
It was holistic, it was calm, it was, residential area. The councillors made sense. There's a councillor called Bill I met there, Bikunda. I could relate to him. At first I didn't want to hear anything he's saying, though he was speaking the most sense. I was in denial all these years actually. I thought that, man, because I still had that thing, I want to be an artist. How am I going to do music and I'm sober? I didn't see that. I'm watching all the stars, they all have those vices. I'm like, I used to talk about I want to go and study audio production, but I didn't want to hear anything about music, if it's related, because they knew music and drugs are like, they go hand in hand, so they knew, no.
So at
So
this
they didn't
time,
support me. So that's when I became even more rebellious and left home. It's a long story. Left home, all that, left school. Yeah. So last year is when I checked myself in. The first time.
You checked yourself.
Yeah, I checked
Safe
myself in.
spaces.
Because I was fed up.
What were you fed up of?
Everything. My habit, me, what I stood for, where I saw myself going. Yeah, I had it.
What happened?
To me, I had hit rock bottom. To me, maybe you could not see it because I was not begging in the streets, or they had not kicked me out of home. But me, I felt that at this age, where I thought I would be when I was 16, is not where I am. I said this has to change, and I have to change it now, before it's too late for me.
What happened for you to get that revelation?
I don't know. It's for, when they say spiritual awakening, I had a resolution. It's very cliche, but we had that, like when someone says, I just woke up and I was fed up of everything. I also didn't believe in those statements, but that's what happened.
Were you staying with your parents by then?
Yeah. I said, I'm now as a full-blown heroin addict. Crack, 5 years now, from 2020 to 2015. I said, okay, I want to quit. Still, I'll go through withdrawals like for a month, so let me check myself in for a month.
Were you still juggling school at this point?
No.
You had dropped out, or you had
Completely.
taken a break?
I didn't want to hear about school. Yeah.
They say crack is an expensive habit. How were you managing the finances, acquiring?
That manipulating people for money, asking relatives, blah, blah. Either being around peer groups who always have that type of money, who can afford that bad habit. Yeah. Stealing, a lot of ways.
And at this point, you still have no social support from any direction?
I do. I'm just getting it now. I'm building it now.
No, by then.
By then, no one trusted me with anything. No one believed in me. I was just a waste. That's why I can say. And a drug addict. To
So it
me and
was-
my relatives and my friends who were not in those same circles as I was in. Yeah.
So it only took you and you alone and the spiritual guidance to actually say,
Yeah, and few people. I'll say like my cousin over here, my bro, my mom. She didn't give up on me. Though I knew she was at the brink of losing hope. So I said, let it not reach that far. Yeah.
okay, so you checked yourself into safe spaces. How did that go?
Yeah, I did. First weeks I was in doubt. I'm like, was this the right move? But now I'm in. There's no looking back. Yeah. And as Fahad mentioned, you take it one day at a time. That's the only way to beat this. And abstinence is the only solution. You have to just abstain for as long as you can, maybe till death. That's how you beat addiction. That's the only way.
You did 3 months as well?
I know I did 2 months.
You did 2 months.
Yeah.
Who was taking care of the bill then?
Of course, my parents. My mom, actually. Yeah.
When you came out, did you consider yourself changed, brand new?
No, because actually the battle starts after rehab, There it's enclosed, there are barbed wires. You know you can't, even if you want to go out and look for whatever you want.
So in safe spaces, you had no access to these drugs, or you said no to them while inside?
No, I had made a decision.
You made a decision.
Yeah, I smoked my last cigarette outside before I checked myself in. Till now, yeah.
Till now.
Maybe I passive smoke, but I have not thought about lighting it, and no.
How long have you been sober for?
It's like a year plus now.
A
I
year
count
plus.
from January 27 to today is 29.
Today is 29.
Yeah,
Did you stop
Yeah,
all
plus.
the substances at once?
yeah, all of them.
All at once?
Yeah.
You know, they say, some people believe to stop one habit, you have to replace it with another.
Yeah, I did.
Did you have to take up,
I did.
which habits are these which you took up?
I would say music, a lot of things, spirituality. I would say exercise. I would say reading. I would say women, some form of shape, but yeah. If I'm going to be honest.
What do you mostly attribute your recovery to?
Who can I amend for?
No, what do you actually attribute it
Attribute.
to? What has played the biggest part to keep you focused and not fall back?
And what I had been through. Yeah, I had been through. I never want that experience again to anyone. I don't wish that to anyone. Yeah.
Since you've been out and clean for a year and some months now, no relapses at all.
No.
Do you ever get temptations?
Yeah, they were there till now, but
How do you handle them?
there's a bigger picture I have in my head. I always visualize. Yeah.
Oh, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only success, not like fame, no. Role model. Like the slogan, I'm not a celebrity. I don't want to be a celebrity. I want to be a role model for people.
Yeah, role model.
To know that whatever craft you're doing, you can do it in a sober format. And it doesn't make you lack creativity or what. Your creative juices aren't flowing because you're not using something. That's a lie, because I also thought I was not creative. Then the times I was writing lyrics, because that's what I used to do when I was in rehab most of the times. Like first time I'd write lyrics, then I would put 2 and 2. The ones when I'm in rehab sober and the ones when I was out, I really revised through them, and I'm like, ones in rehab actually, they make more sense and they're actually better than when I was using. So I said, why am I lying to myself? Yeah.
So are you safe to move alone right now and be in a place?
I'm
you
always
actually-
around temptation.
You're always
And I
around
like
temptation. You
They
like
always
it?
say, yeah. They always say, avoid, there's this PPTA, people, places, time, events, whatever. I said, man, let me be, because I'm going to be an artist. So, club setting, bar setting, blah, blah, a lot of artists use. I said, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. It's my personal choice.
So you learn to identify your triggers
Yeah.
and to deal with them.
Yeah.
What adjustments have you had to make in your life?
My mindset. Yeah. I think as an individual, you're not going to convince me to do something I don't want to do. Yeah. People are still in disbelief till now. But my aim is not to prove them wrong. They'll see by my actions.
So you have that willpower now.
Now I have some self-control. Yeah, to some extent. I want to
Yeah.
say I've mastered it.
What keeps you going?
That goal. When you have a dream and a vision. Yeah. And even if I achieve it, still, other things will come. That's how life is.
Are you a spiritual person?
Very. That also helped me a lot.
You believe in...
I believe in a higher power. I'm not going to give it a name. I just believe, there's someone who can answer your prayers if you're willing to do the work. Yeah.
So you believe in a higher power?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very prayerful, But ever since last year when I checked myself in, I made it, I don't want to say habit because that sounds, it was a priority. Yeah. Let me work this prayer journey. Let me see. Because I thought praying, it's like you're praying in vain. Actually, you can't even catch yourself praying. You're like, man, this looks stupid. Either you're saying it out loud or in thought, you're like, man, who am I praying to?
Yeah.
And why would he answer my prayers?
So you believe in it?
Till I had to, faith. Yeah. I walk with faith. That's helped me because some prayers have been answered already. So that even gives me more hope that, you know what? That person actually exists. I don't want to say person. That entity actually exists.
Lately, how do you deal with stress? I mean, given you've had your anger issues going on, how do you manage to stay calm and not run back into that road?
I'm actually a very unique individual. How I think things through and what. Most counselors have told me that. So I'm different. Like, there's the way I live my life, sobriety, different from the normal person who does AA or what. Before I was doing that, then I said, because the field I want to be in, it's not really that gravitated to that. So I said I have to adjust some things. And it's working for me. I had to first know my emotions. When I used to feel like using, I'm angry, when I'm excited, when I'm depressed, those three. So I'm learning how to deal with that. When I get overexcited, you have to congratulate yourself with something. Either you want to get drunk. Hi. Now, I just live in the moment. I'm like, it's a phase. Happy? Oh, I'm happy. I've achieved something. Okay, yeah. This feeling is good. When I'm angry, I learned how to meditate because, it's like me feeding myself poison, trying to kill you. So I get angry with you and I go and smoke it. I know my issue. It's not going to affect you. It's affecting me. So
it's more of understanding the situation better and taking it calm.
From a 360 point of view. Yeah.
You mentioned something about having to deal with depression.
I went through that. So.
Are you still dealing with that right now?
No, I don't. I'm actually the happiest I've ever been. That's when I also realized that, man, this is it. People might not accept it. I've been using for a decade. I know what being high means. Trust me. Every day. When days I'm sober, actually I don't think I would. Maybe when I'm in rehab, but I've been high. Literally. For a decade. So I know. So now, and I wasn't happy. That was all a lie to me. There are certain moments, of course. Outings, the first 4 years, even weed, man, all that. Yeah. Then after you become a slave, you're trapped, you can't get out of it. It becomes a bad habit. There's bondage, it's enslavement. You realize the drug is in control of you, like you have lost control. And that's self-control. Is when you lose self-control, that's when you know you have a problem.
Okay, so you actually had psychological impacts from the drugs?
All that, depression,
did you have
psychosis.
physical impacts on your body? Physiological?
Thank God I didn't get any issues there. But mentally and spiritually, I was low.
Do you feel like addiction ever goes away?
I told that's why you asked me this question. I'm an addict in recovery. I'll forever be an addict. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
won't change.
While you are in these rehab centers, and according to that teaching, you know, some people have some beliefs that you can smoke weed and get addicted to it. I can smoke it and not get addicted to it. Is that true?
That
Does
is
it depend on someone? Or
Yeah, if you're speaking in scientific way, the genetics, yeah, there's any things that are hereditary, it's your biometrics. It's like it depends on the person. There's some people who are addicts, but it's dormant because their parents were users. They never tried, or they didn't really activate it. You understand to an
so they
extent.
teach you all this while you are.
Yeah, if you want to dive into it deeper, yeah, a lot of things, genetic codes, blah blah blah, scientific.
Okay. Are there any misconceptions you want to clear up? You know,
About
people have these things, how addicts are, you know, sly and cunning and liars and can't be
very
trusted.
very
I mean, you having been on that side of the wall, is there anything you want to clear up?
No,
Maybe for us
that's true
to
to an
understand
extent.
better.
That's true, but they play the victim cards all the time. Yeah, I'm an addict, so you have to help me. Actually, you have to help yourself. No one is going to help you. No one. I've been through it. I've told you 5 times. It didn't work until I realized I need it. I need help. People are needing the help for me, like he needs help. No, it's like someone praying for you. It won't work. You have to be willing. So once you accept, that's the first step of 12. You accept. You can't live like this. Your life is unmanageable. That's it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So the current Peter right now, what's happening? Do you work? Did you get back in school? How is your family
Yeah, I'm getting
relationship
back to
like?
school setting. I'm doing what I want to do. What I love is music. Right now, I'm working on an NGO. I'm also working in a record label. I'm the CEO. I don't want to say that. That's a big term, but yeah, for my friend. So yeah, I'm back in the music setting that I've always wanted, but so many things. This addiction derailed me completely. All I was doing is just writing lyrics. I tried making records, recording audios. They ain't like it wasn't going anywhere.
Given weed and other things were mostly like your not really inspiration, but they kept you going to focus on your music world. Aren't you scared there's going to come a time where you feel like you have to use to be as creative?
No, because my work right now as a sober person is far, far better. Far better. That's actually a lie. But one thing, I don't condone people. I don't judge people. This is my story. All I can do, even for the NGO, I'm targeting youth from 13 to 35.
How did that idea come up? Sorry to
I
cut
had
you short.
that idea in 2015 when I was in Butavika. Because that time I saw a lot of youth. I told you my first rehab, there were a lot of grown-ups. I didn't even know it's an issue. So it was like an eye-opener, man. So many people, really. Yeah, it's a big problem. I thought I could, I thought because I like helping people, but I was also not equipped with enough information. Maybe I had to go through all this to really know how it feels to be a class A addict and down to whatever letter it is. So now at least I know I have the knowledge. Understand? I know what works, what doesn't work to some extent. And I'm really targeting high school and university. University, you're old enough. It's just all about giving you the information.
So you have your music, you have the NGO, you're going back to school, you're back in school?
Yeah, actually I'm doing online course. Yeah.
Are you still staying with your
psychology.
parents?
At the moment I am, but not really. I no longer stay with them. But at the moment I am for certain reasons.
Do they trust you to stay alone?
Of course. I proved them wrong in a short period of time. Last year, they didn't actually. Now they believe I'm sober. Before they didn't believe at all because they knew I was good at pretending. Yeah. Now they believe so. They also had to take a leap of faith, like, you know what? Yeah. Because actually what was keeping me out of drugs was me being busy and constructive all the time. I didn't want. Only time is when I'm resting. And I wake up, back to it. Still
So you
now,
have a good relationship with the parents.
it's coming back. No, I lost trust. A lot of issues. You know, I'm just mending right now.
You know, the biggest part, which some people say, to recovering is the support you need around you.
A support
Because as
system.
much as you try, but I mean, do you actually have that? Do you have
I
that
do.
from your siblings?
Yeah.
Have you opened up to new friends? Have you made new circles of friends?
Yeah, I have. Actually, I have, and actually, my people, yeah, they support me to some extent, you know, but they're not really. They don't have the right information about me as an addict, so they're learning from me because both of them are users. You understand? So maybe they also blame themselves. Yeah.
Your parents, you said?
Yeah, but I don't want to, I don't want to blame them because it's me. You understand? Actions, the choices I made led me to this path that I was on.
Oh, so you don't
But
want to
before I was
blame them.
playing the blame game, they also drink and smoke, blah, blah. You understand? Till I came to understanding that, man, they live their lives, they're old, they're married, whatever. It's not upon me.
So you actually learn to break away from them and be your own person and do your own thing, regardless of what they do.
Yeah, and that has never actually. I realized that, this world is full of temptation, minus even addiction. Just temptation. It's a natural thing, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So when I hear someone saying, "Man, there's that funny joke from rehab, whatever," I'm driving and I see a huge billboard of Nile. The bottle is sweating. I feel tempted.
I haven't had that one before.
I know, yeah. A lot of them say that. Oh, man, pollution, I'm driving, exhaust, smoke. Some people don't even they miss smoking for that inhale and exhale. That whole thing, the smoke coming in and out. So those are all excuses, cause man, that's life.
Do you ever get tired of speaking about this, your story?
No,
How does it feel every time you share?
I feel relieved because I feel relieved because I want to be an open book to some extent. You know.
Do you
I
feel
want to
like
go into deep. It's too long, but
it's too
I've
long?
shared with you a brief summary. So yeah, this is me. I'm starting an NGO. My testimony is going to be used. I'm going to speak in front of so many kids. I have to get used to this.
Do you feel like you're in control of it right now?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I mean, you could be speaking, then you get a moment which holds you a bit back. Do you feel you're
Uh-huh,
over that
I
right
know.
now? Or you're still learning?
Yes, I'm emotional, but not really. It's time to be professional. I tend to be.
I mean, it's more of a conversation.
Of course, there are past
doesn't-
traumas.
Or you're
Whenever I
still dealing
speak
with some
about
traumas.
this, some things that I go back, like in my mind, I'm like, man, should I say this? Let me just say this because really, it's really helping me. It's therapeutic for me. Right now, it's like I'm speaking to a counselor. These are the same questions they ask, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they're psychoanalyzing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's therapeutic for me. The more I talk about it, the more I'll accept my past. And I won't say I'll bury it because as long as I have my mind, all those memories will still be there.
Do you feel like right now you know yourself better than you did back then? Or you're still trying to
Self-awareness.
figure it out?
I'm still figuring out I'm still controlling a few things.
You're still learning to control a few things.
Yeah, but I'm more aware, There's certain past traumas I buried deep in my mind that I'm now working on, and it helps.
You still
Because
go
you
to
become
therapy?
a complete person. If
You
you're
still
broken, I can consider I was a broken person. I'm just mending myself. So
You still go for therapy sessions?
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay, sometimes, But my counselors, I have their WhatsApp numbers, always chat.
That's very
Update
good.
them,
That's
yeah.
very good. So you can always just reach out in case.
Yeah, and they like me, the people, that setting, safe places, they're actually very good. Professional, not only professional, but they are caring and really,
And
it's like they
holistic.
love what they're doing. They really want to help. Other people are in it because it's an occupation. When I'm going to get paid regardless. Let me hear this man's problems, blah blah.
Yeah.
Invent for me. Yeah.
Okay. So apart from you being here today and probably doing the work you're doing through your NGO, which other ways have you actually had to share your story to kind of create awareness?
My music interviews, TV interviews. I told you I was in that what they call it, that show with Jocelyn Perspective. Yeah, last year.
Huh?
So all the time, anytime I'm on camera, anytime, actually,
Any
I
moment,
can speak about it any moment,
openly.
as long as you ask me.
Openly.
Yeah.
Do you feel during this time of your recovery, before and after you decided to keep sober, did you have a moment where you felt like it's people around you who failed you but not yourself?
I was pointing a lot of fingers.
You're not going to play the victim card anymore. So you realize this is all you and it's all you.
That's it.
Yeah.
I wanted to know. I was curious. I was a curious soul. That was also my excuse. But now I'm curious. That saying, curiosity kills. Well, curiosity kills the cat. So thank God I'm not dead. So I didn't go that far, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I stopped playing that victim card. All that. Nah, it's me. It's my world. I'm not going to be buried with my family. They'll bury me or I'll bury them. It depends. So yeah.
Okay. So what happens from here?
From here, like the remarks, what should I say?
No, with you.
With me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sober. One day at a time. I'm going to continue fighting for that, advocating for that, spreading awareness, even in my music. Because, okay, yeah, my songs right now that are out, they're sort of mainstream, club setting, but then that is Haze Uganda. Now in my NGO, music is also a medium, you understand, but with a positive message. I'm not going to be preachy, no. I'll bring it in a way that is intriguing and catchy for it to
You
sink
can actually
in.
reach out to other people. It doesn't have to be that boring kind
No,
of
no,
thing.
no, I don't want to do these gospel things, That's one thing God blessed me with, that. So I know how to, and I know what the youth want to hear. So it will be interesting. That's the challenge I'm looking forward to. So yeah, there will be two sides of me in this music industry. That side, mainstream, where I'll get attention. You understand? To this other side. So I'll be playing two roles. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's very interesting.
And there's also one other thing I'd want to mention. I don't condone anyone who's still using. You might not have an issue. They're addicts, they're dependents, they're social drinkers, they're social drinkers, whatnot, they're recreative users. Yeah, you should do a psychoanalysis and know where you fit in. If you're dependent, if you're an addict, you're a recreational user, social drinker, and and then you work on yourself. But I don't like people who go out. Okay, I've quit drugs. Okay, that's actually the 12th step. Since you have a spiritual awakening, you can go and help others. But most people don't reach that 12th step in a very short period. It takes years actually. You have to first work on you. You have to be that role model for them to be like, okay, he's done it. How long? So it depends. Now, like for me, it took me months, and I feel like I'm ready because I've been premeditating this. Even when I was using, I said, once I quit, this is it. But it's also advised, first work on you, then you can help others. You understand? So me, I don't judge anyone. You can use, you might not have an issue. If you feel you cannot talk about it, find something to get you out of this, because this is really, it's enslavement, addiction, It can really deteriorate you from all your life goals, all your plans you had with your family, friends, everything, relationship-wise. So work on you and don't judge others, because also that's a stigma that really lowers your self-esteem. Like, I need help, but I don't want that stigma of I'm an addict. I don't want that. You understand? I don't want them to put me in that box. This person is a drug addict. No one wants that label.
You just want to be an ordinary person. You
Yeah.
survive what you survive, but you're still ordinary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you feel like you need help, there are other places you can get it. You don't have to go to rehab. You can talk to counselors, People like us now who are trying to be those ambassadors for that.
Yeah.
We can understand. We're youth. People like you, like this podcast, It's just spreading awareness, We don't have to go to, because people don't want that also, that label. I've been to rehab. It's very bad. I suffered with that, actually. Going to Butavika. They labeled me a crazy person.
The stigma around it. And
yeah, it's a mad guy, man. Even in Butavika, I fought that. I was depressed because of that label.
the level
Then
of your being
I realized
Butavika.
me, I did an analysis. I'm actually beyond normal. Actually, someone hears me be like, "You went through that?" Yeah, I did. So
Or they wonder how you made it through and you're still...
even in that rehab, even in Butavika, I was like, I had leadership skills. I was doing everything,
Because of that
So
way.
even the nurses, all that, they are like, man, this guy is different. You understand? So when I left, I actually started hearing about that after. And I feel bad because there's a group of people who initiated me to heroin, who are still fighting that thing till now. They're in Butavika. Mad people, all drug addicts, whatever. And that really breaks their confidence, that they feel like they can't even succeed. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You can wear that badge proud, or you can just understand that, man, yes, I was in a referral hospital. That's
think it's
actually
a
one
good
of the
thing.
best in Africa. Top 5. You see it in a more mature way, not like stereotypical way. And be like, man, that's another rehab setting, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are fighting that stigma, and it really breaks them, like it puts them down to their peers, their family, all that. So now me, that's why I even say it like I don't really care, because I also learned a lot from there. Actually, I learned the harsh reality of what drugs can do, because I've seen all sorts of people. I've seen people who kill their parents. You see how come I
Because
am
of
talking
drugs.
to you. Ask, so what's your problem? The very calm way. I cut off my mom's head. When you hear that, this guy is joking. You go and so, yeah, he's been here for how long? 7 years. For him, they can't visit him. This is his home. Now that one, I think, in the courts of law, there's that pleading, insanity plea. I think that's what, you understand. A lot of them are there. So, it can reach that far.
It can get crazy.
I'm telling you, even beyond.
Okay, well, it's a good thing you made it out, and
Yeah.
I hope maybe through the NGO or any other ways of awareness, you can always go back and help those people as well.
Yeah.
Just as we're doing right now on the Mindspace podcast. To anyone
Yes.
watching, anyone listening, feel free to reach out, contact, and we hope you're not alone. Very interesting conversation with you, Peter. Mind blowing. Sharing your months of strength. I mean, the whole story, dancing so close to the devil.
Yeah,
Very interesting story. Any last words you want to give out any listener who could be out there?
Now I'm used to giving my social media handles for my own selfish reasons.
That's all
So
right.
which camera should I? Yeah. You can find me Hayes Uganda, Instagram, Facebook, my YouTube channel that's new. Then also Hayes Music for Youth Empowerment. You can find us Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're opening a YouTube channel soon, and stay tuned to us. And this podcast is very lovely, very understanding people. I hope to come back next time if you can invite me.
Definitely.
And I will try and bring other people, me and my friend,
We would appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's the end.
who are willing to share.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So yeah, that's my last remark.
Okay. Thank you so much, Peter.
Welcome.
Okay.
It numbs you, a nightmare, a horrible disease. These are just a few of the ways people have described mental illness in their lives, whether it's you, your child, or a friend. Mental illness impacts all of us in the same ways, and that's why the Mindspace podcast is committed to uncovering mental illness and the impact it has.